During World War II, one of the first U.S. big tech firms, IBM, provided Nazi Germany with the tools to better catalog, process, and exterminate Jews. Now, some 8 decades later, IBM is one of several American corporations that play host to elements of China's Communist Party, according to a database that was leaked to the Epoch Times. The database reveals that hundreds of Chi-Com party members have been placed within China-related divisions of several companies including 3M, PepsiCo, and IBM. The existence of party units within foreign companies in China is hardly surprising, given that the regime mandates any organization with at least 3 CCP members to form a party branch, the Epoch Times reported. But the 1.95 million CCP member list, which includes names, levels of education, ethnicity, and the party branches they belong to, was to date the biggest revelation on the scale of the CCP's influence on international companies, the outlet added. According to the database, most members of the CCP are from Shanghai, which is a coastal metropolis in China's southeast. The database shows that the New York-based IBM is one of the most heavily penetrated, having at least 24 CCP units with 808 members in China. Meanwhile, consumer healthcare goods manufacturer 3M, which also makes N95 respirators and other products that are vital to combating the COVID-19 pandemic, also employs about 230 Chi-Com party members within 5 units, the Epoch Times reported. An international beverage and snack company PepsiCo has 45 employees that are listed as members of the CCP branch committee. The outlet notes further, earlier media reports have also highlighted CCP members' presence at U.S. aerospace company Boeing, which employed at least 287 CCP members in 2016, and U.S. pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, with at least 69 party members. The U.S. companies and party branches mentioned are by no means exhaustive. As of 2016, around 75,000 foreign businesses accounting for over 70% of the roughly 106,000 foreign firms in China have established party units, according to state-run media People's Daily. In addition, one of the world's 3 biggest chemical makers, Dow Chemical Company, has 337 CCP members in 4 party committees, making it one of the most heavily infiltrated. Other notable U.S. firms on the list include Westin Hotel and Resorts owned by Marriott International, 23 members, analytics firm Nielsen Holdings, 94, leading food company Mars Food, 14, and insurance provider MetLife, 31, the Epoch Times notes. It's safe to say that there are no members of the Republican or Democratic parties embedded within Chinese companies, by comparison. In all, there are approximately 92 million Communist Party members in China, and the database only represents a tiny fraction of the total. However, according to Washington Times national security correspondent Bill Gertz, the database provides a good glimpse into just how deeply the Chi-Coms have penetrated American companies, which makes it easier to understand how so much proprietary information is stolen from those companies every year by Chinese operatives. Related, the war between China and the United States has already begun, and America is the battleground. The membership in the Chinese Communist Party makes those people devoted not to the nation of China, or to the people of China, but to the political party of the CCP, Gertz told the Epoch Times. The effort is part of the CCP's ideological drive to basically take over the world. The CCP members see themselves as besieged by the capitalist world. They see themselves as, basically, at ideological war with a non-communist world, he added. Now the West, the free world, needs to wake up and start fighting back against the Chinese Communist Party, Gertz said. Yes, of course that is what needs to happen, and under President Donald Trump, fighting back was happening. But half of Joe Biden's cabinet consists of China sycophants and the president-elect himself is called China Joe. In other words, don't expect much to change under his administration. See more reporting like this at nationalsecurity.news. A confidential report on foreign election interference that was supposed to have been released late last week was delayed after John Ratcliffe, director of the National Intelligence Agency, DNI, indicated that new relevant reports have emerged since the election that many departments have not yet been able to coordinate. There is an apparent dispute within our nation's intelligence community over whether China or Russia is primarily to blame for our fraudulent elections. The political left hates Russia and always blames it for everything, while the political right has been ramping up the rhetoric against communist China. Could it be that both countries have an anti-American agenda, or is one or the other the culprit? This is the space between a rock and a hard place where our nation currently finds itself, and Ratcliffe has no plans to sign off on the report until it takes into account the national security threat that is the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Many in President Donald Trump's cabinet, including National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and former Attorney General William Barr, along with Trump himself, have all stated at one point or another that they believe China is a bigger threat to the United States than Russia. Democrats, however, never talk about China and are always trying to convince us that Russia is responsible for everything bad that happens. Only communist China has the power and influence to subvert entire nations. What we know thus far, according to whistleblower Guo Wenyi, is that the CCP's plan to subvert the U.S. dates back decades. China's plan has long been to control all information, money, and politics in our country in order to weaken it to the point of total collapse. Even the Wuhan coronavirus, COVID-19, pandemic was apparently hatched by China as a weapon to take down and take over the nation. Everything was moving along as planned until the Trump administration came to power, thwarting China's agenda. Consequently, China pulled out all the punches and went gung-ho, especially in the year 2020 as every weapon in the arsenal was deployed for the final takeover. The American people need to realize that the war between the CCP and the United States has already started and the battlefield is in the United States, reports G News. From Wall Street, mainstream media, technology giants, Hollywood, to American politics, there are agents controlled by the CCP everywhere. Today, the struggle within the United States has heated up. The power that the CCP has cultivated in Washington for a long time has reached the point of crazy resistance. Back in September when FBI Director Christopher Wray tried to claim that Russia was responsible for influencing the presidential election on social media, Trump fought back by claiming that China is more dangerous than Russia. G News agrees, suggesting that there is no second party that can have 1.4 billion slaves and provide endless wealth, human organs, and all kinds of young children to the global elite in the way that communist China can. The CCP can provide elitists around the world with things that are strictly prohibited in all civilized countries. This is an irresistible temptation for many people. The content of Hunter Biden's hard drive from hell is just the tip of the iceberg of the CCP's manipulation of the world. Until the intelligence apparatus acknowledges this reality and stops blaming Russia for everything, there can be no getting to the bottom of this ongoing scandal. Will that eventually happen? Time will certainly tell. More related news on the attempted takeover of the United States by communist China can be found at tyranny.news. Not charging battery.